Good morning. I might need help with this computer and the presentation. Oh, no, there we are. All right. Yes, excellent. I'm not very good at operating these things, you know. Yes. All right. My name is Axel Pawlik. I'm the managing director of the RIPE NCC with offices in Amsterdam and Dubai and a couple of colleagues in Moscow. Occasionally I have to explain to people what we are doing. So what is a regional internet registry? What are you doing there in Amsterdam? I said, oh, well, internet administration. And we give out internet addresses and do some other things. And they say, oh, isn't that terribly boring? And I said, no, it's not. First of all, it's not boring. It's about community and getting the community to make the rules under which we allocate those addresses. And then there are other challenges, and we go out into our big service region of 70-odd countries, Europe, the Middle East, and parts of Central Asia, as we say, our service region. And that is very satisfying to meet all of you. It's nice to see a big room full of people like this. I do remember a long time ago, I can barely remember, but I do, when we had our first RIPE NCC regional meeting. We went to Dubai in 2003, shortly before Christmas, and there was Christmas music in the lifts, and it was really hot. That was amazing. It was also a new thing that we did to really reach out into the regions, and then of course seeing what MENOG has become over the last 12 years. That is amazing too, and those are the things that are not internet administration. Really, it's getting people together and fostering local communities and being part of that and meeting all of you. So I'm very glad that we can do this. Having said that, of course, not everybody can come to all the meetings or even any meetings. I'm glad that we have remote participation through 3 local hubs. And of course, telling you all and the remote participants what the RIPE NCC has been up to and some statistics is sort of at the core of what we are doing. So this presentation will be basically coming in 3 parts. One is the statistics about our membership development and resource statistics. There's quite a lot of detail in here, and possibly you want to in a quiet moment go to those things online and dissect them. Then I'll talk about the activities of the RIPE NCC. What are we currently looking at? What is important to us? What do we think is important to our members, first of all, of course, and the community? And lastly, encouragement to participate in the various things that we are offering. So, okay, RIPE NCC membership overview. We have been saying this, oh my God, there's so many new people coming in, so many new members. And we talk like for years in a row about unprecedented growth. We see a lot of new LIRs coming up. We think we'll have about 24,000 by the end of this year. And yes, we know it's fueled by the last remaining /22s in IPv4. So this will at some point come to an end. But yeah, for now, membership is growing. That is, of course, lovely. From the region membership overview, we see many more LIRs are opened, like 1,200, than LIRs that are closed, that have gone out of business. Maybe that's just over 300 I can see here. So a lot of things are happening here. Looking at this slide, and that will be a repeating theme as we go through the next couple of slides. We see a couple of countries poking out quite visibly. That's Iran, and I think that's Turkey, as being very large in membership. Big countries, lots of activity there. That's what it is. And like I said, switching between those 2 slides. That is reflected also, of course, in the resources that are held, IPv4 addresses in this one. There's one sticking out there, the red one, that's Saudi Arabia, and far to the left, the Emirates. and going through the ASNs, sort of a similar picture there. And then we look at IPv6, not entirely different either. So IPv6, of course, is an ongoing feature of our work, point of interest. I remember going to my very first job, not my very first job interview, but my job interview for the RIPE NCC in the dark ages. I think it was in 99, somewhere there in summer. And one of the big questions is, what are you going to do about IPv6? And I said, well, allocate, that's easy. So yes, we are of course still doing this. And we are measuring, of course, also the uptake of IPv6. And now we see for a couple of years that uptake is there and it's accelerating, and that's good. It's not quite good enough yet, but. So we are looking at things to measure that, at ways to measure that, and we have this thing that we call Ipv6 Ripeness, with sort of tongue-in-cheek a little bit. And there we are awarding stars based on preparedness for IPv6. So first is having an allocation from the RIPE NCC, announcing that allocation also in the routing tables, having a Route 6 object in the database, having reverse DNS delegation set up for the IPv6 block, and now there's a fifth star also for deploying v6 at the edge. So that gives some sort of impression of what IPv6 is doing in any particular country, for instance. So we have this lovely slide, very colorful, far too much red, of course, on that one. It goes to the, I think the 100%, should go to the 100%, right? Looking at the 4 stars, I don't think there's a 5-star in the region yet. And looking at it, maybe somewhat surprisingly, we see Yemen as being very, very prepared for IPv6 compared to the others. But of course, it's also not that many LIRs that we see there. So 1 or 2 have quite a big impact on the whole statistics there. So yeah, that's what it is. Not quite good enough, but I see promising signs there, and I hear good things. So that was the part of my presentation that was mostly about statistics. And of course, we have so much data on our website and sort of squirreled away in there. I would invite all of you to come looking and digging and using all the tools that we have to your benefit. Activities, what have we been doing, and what do we see as important these days at the RIPE NCC? Things that we are doing that are based on membership wishes and feedback. We do surveys regularly, and I'll talk about this a little bit later on. We think all that we are doing is based on community and membership wishes. So strategic focus for 2019, that is this year. Now, preparing for strong membership growth. I think we are in the phase of strong membership growth, so we have prepared there quite a lot. But what we are now focusing on is the expected end of IPv4 and the it says fall of membership. I don't really think that we see a sort of dip in membership, but certainly we'll see a significant deceleration of membership growth. So there will be less new members coming in. That means a bit less money for the RIPE NCC. So of course we have to be prepared for the workload that comes with that. And also, of course, we have to look at efficiencies, which we do. The registry, I always say we are the RIPE Network Coordination Center. We do a lot of things, being a secretariat for the community, for instance, doing RIPE meetings, supporting other meetings as well, doing measurements, running K-root as one of the root server clusters, but also we perform, probably most prominently, the function of a regional internet registry. So we are an authority on that area, and we have to ensure that the registry is accurate, up to date, complete. So that's one of our strategic focus areas for this year, and of course, one of the focus areas at the core of our existence. Now we do see over the last couple of years, or I personally, see a shift in community and also shift in behavior. When we set up this internet thing, like in the late 80s, early 90s, everybody was was happy to be part of it, and was doing it for the good of the world, good of the internet. This is something we all work together. And over the last couple of years, I see a certain shift there that some of our members seem to be in it for money, making money out of addresses. And that is something that is alien to the nature of what we knew to be the community. So what we also see, of course, as RIPE-NC, as we look at the applications for address space, there is quite a lot of nastiness in there. Basically, fraud, falsified passports, falsified company documentation that people are using to get their last, or get another 10 or 20/22s. So as the registry and being committed to the correctness of the registry, we have to be very diligent there, and we expend quite a lot of effort, quite a lot of work in those areas, and it's not always the most satisfying and the most happy work, but it needs to be done as well. So training services. Oh my God, training services. Since we are doing membership surveys or community stakeholder surveys, training is always one of the highlights that we hear many good things about. Give us more is one of the recurrent themes. And of course, we have a training team, and Romy and Sandra and Max are here. So you see some of us, but there are not that many more people. And of course, we do go around and give face-to-face training courses. And that's also very rewarding because we have face-to-face contact and we hear lots of feedback. That's great. But yeah, we can never do enough of that. So for quite some time, we have also looked at sort of online variants of training courses, and we have some interesting news there going on, very exciting, to help this and to get more training out, also giving more benefits to the participants in the training. Like I said, the Secretariat for the Community, that involves also providing information to anybody who needs it on our core sort of area of expertise. So neutral information, tools, measurements to support the RIPE community and people beyond. Looking at governments and regulators, for instance, who need information about how the internet is working in their home country. We see that as a very important part of what we are doing as well, being the neutral third party there, trusted as well. And like I said, we operate one of the root server clusters, and we are looking at that. And of course, those root servers are under attack basically constantly. So we are looking at that, and we are strengthening the infrastructure as well. Right, I talked about efficiency. That's something that we constantly have to look at, and of course our membership also asks for that. So we have changed the way we are doing the billing, and we brought our CFO here, Gwen. If you have any questions, you can ask her too. So the idea here is that we, over the last many years, we had also not only yearly billing, but also half-yearly and quarterly, and there was quite a lot of back and forth going on about that, a little bit of confusion with members occasionally. So a lot of work for us, basically. So we said we want to look at straightening this process out and seeing that our membership fees are not that high, really. We would go to yearly billing, and for cases that really need quarterly payments, then we would look at that also. So that's what we are doing, and it goes quite well. We have a couple of requests for quarterly payment, but not that many, less than we thought. So that's lovely. So yeah, that's one of the examples in looking at efficiencies in-house. Outreach. We do a lot of outreach throughout our service region, and especially also here in the MENOG region. Like I said, this was the first area that we went to when we did sort of, we need to go out of Europe really and look at the local communities. So what we did last year, we did a government roundtable. We have been doing them for quite a while, but also now we are branching out into the regions. So we held one in Riyadh in December last year. Similar time frame. We did a country report. Like we have lots of data about statistics on the internet, about address usage and the like. And we put this all together with some external data from other data sources and produced a country report that we published at the roundtable. We did a member lunch. We do member lunches quite frequently when we are in a given space with the training, for instance, or other events, and we love to meet our members, and so the member lunches have been established somewhat. So we did one in Dubai. We did roundtable discussions on security for banks. We did an Ipv6 week, also here in Lebanon. We did, like I said, face-to-face training courses, quite a few of them, Dubai, Muscat, Riyadh, Beirut, Doha, Istanbul, and Amman in 2018. And of course, there will be more coming this year. Good. Speaking about policy, and I'm not the policy expert, but we have a help desk outside, of course, if you have any particular questions here. It's interesting to see. For a long time we thought, oh, we run out of IPv4 and then we are rid of it and then we won't do much policy anymore. Oh, we were wrong. There's much going on, also in other areas, regions, of course. So one of the things that we see is the increased involvement by governments and regulators and the police force. I do remember many years ago my first meeting with police officers who wanted us as the RIRs to be able to withdraw addresses from the bad guys. And we said, that's interesting. That's not how we are set up. That's outside of our authority, really. But no, of course, we do a lot of outreach training, capacity building with the police forces in our service region, and the other areas are doing similar things. And it's great to see that having talked about the policy development process and how everybody really is part of it, if you're a government, yes, you're part of it. And if you're a regulator, you can come and talk and propose policies as well. And if you're a police force, please be welcome. There are microphones, just talk to us. And as a secretariat, we are also willing, and that's our job, of course, to help you with formulating a policy proposal if you have an idea for that. So that happens. Also, the police forces have an interest in having a registry that is useful to them. So they had a lot of ideas, and one of the ideas that came to fruition through the process was the validation of abuse contact in the database. So there was quite a lively discussion around that, but that finished, and now we've started implementation in February this year with an initial check of 70,000 contacts in the database. And of course, we don't want to do this all by hand. We do some automated checks there, but then where we see that manual follow-up is needed, then we do that, of course, and that's, of course, where then that has impact on the workforce. So we did have to hire a couple of people to do this. But yeah, it's important that that kind of information is up to date and valid. So all of you who have abuse C entries in the database, please do check them and yeah, update them if they're not up to date. Helps us with our work. That would be great. Thank you. Talking about training and e-learning, we are expanding here. Of course, we do webinars for quite a while. We do online academic partnerships, and the American University of Beirut is sort of the first partner that we have there. I'm very glad about this cooperation that comes to fruition. And also, that's an idea that Rumi surprised me with last year at some point. We are looking at online certification. Now, of course, you can come to RIPE trainings, training courses that we do, and you get your certificate. But in the end, it's not really that strong a document. So with online certification, properly done credentialing is something that improves the benefit of the trainings that we are giving. So we're looking at this. We are very excited about it. we want to launch this year. It'll probably be towards the end of the year, the latest early next year. It's a lot of work. Suddenly, we have a great idea, and this is wonderful. We want to do this like next week, right, for me? And then there are lots of things that we have to think about that I have no idea about what those things are, like formulating proper questions for the tests and things like that. So with Sandra, we have an expert in e-learning, and she's taking a lead there. But again, it's a relatively small team. We are very excited. We are putting some priority on this, and we'll see it coming. That's a nice new service for the NCC. All right, I said lots of data that we have, and of course we generate the data somehow. Lots and lots of things. When I came, again, like nearly 20 years ago, I heard from my predecessor, oh, we're doing this test traffic measurement stuff, and it's all very exciting. We have GPS antennas on roofs, and then we measure. I didn't know about that then. So seeing that we are still doing measurements, this is one of the core activities that the NCC does as a sort of neutral party. Of course, the measurement network has greatly developed and improved. Now, you know, we have those little probes that we are giving out that you plug into your USB ports, and then it measures, and you can use the global network with about 10,000 probes currently. But of course, that's hardware that breaks, that is forgotten behind the desks occasionally. So we have had quite a bit of push for sort of virtual probes, non-hardware solutions, let's say, for those things. So what we have right now is the bigger anchors, Butler's anchors that are available virtually, and we are looking at making the simple probes also available in software. There's lots of tools, lots of data to look at, of course, new visualizations we have. And again, that's something that if you have an interest in this, just go and be amazed at what's out there. Yeah, and here we sort of slide into the next stage of the presentation. Get involved, please get involved. We need more probes in this part of our service region in the Middle East. So please contact us if you don't have them yet in your network. Another thing that sort of naturally evolved a little bit out from what RIPE was in the early days is supporting Network Operators Group. Now we are here at MENOG. We did help set up ENOG as well. We do support the Southeastern Network Coordination there. But also we look at smaller, more national groups. We see them as very, very close to the core of what we are doing in terms of internet development and coordination. Local peering is an interesting thing, of course. Local traffic routing is something that is important and beneficial to the internet and local economies. We have a whole section on RIPE Labs about NOGs. Please do have a look there. Oops, okay. So, policy development, I skipped that. That's another part of this presentation, but I skipped through this rather quickly. Like I said, there's lots of policy activity going on. Quite a bit of that is housekeeping in a way, cleaning out the database, making it better, using what's there. Lots of clarification, textual changes there. I don't go into much detail here. Yeah, a very interesting discussion currently going on the mailing list. You probably have seen it if you are subscribed to it. Is the proposal to define BGP hijacking as a violation of RIPE policy, and in a way that seems to be turning the RIPE NCC into the routing police, which we for 20 years we are not really. And there's a vibrant discussion going on. That's very interesting to read. So yeah, participation. Participation on the mailing list, participation in person, participation in the policy development process. This is important. We say to the authorities that there are around us, this is bottom-up industry self-regulation. It works for so many years. The internet is a real success. It really works well. There are lots of people participating in this. It's the community, it's the industry, can be governments and regulators. But of course that needs to happen. If that doesn't happen, then we have a problem. So generally we see pretty, like I said, pretty vibrant discussions in person and on the mailing list, but we don't see that much from the MENOG region. Please, it's easy to participate. We would like to see more from here. Policy discussions are open to the whole community, and actually anybody is the community, so don't be shy and think you're not really part of it. There are lots of mailing lists. There's also archives of mailing lists for the last 20 years probably. Don't start reading at the beginning. Every voice is equally important. That's something that we are saying, and that is true. So please have a look and participate if you have an opinion. And of course, you should have an opinion because this is your business, right? Have your say. So let's talk about the community. Now we're talking about the membership. We are a membership association under Dutch law. We have members, and members have certain obligations, but also they have rights. So general meeting participation, you can also participate remotely, of course, for a couple of years now. You decide who is elected to be my boss. That's always exciting for me, new bosses. So we have 2 seats that are going to be refilled in the general meeting in May. We have a couple of good candidates. Have a look. Charging scheme. Oh yeah, we are deciding on the charging scheme for 2020. It seems a bit early, but not really, because you want to do your financial planning as well. So charging scheme is important. And of course, you have a say in what you will pay next year. And of course, general feedback about what we should be doing. Talk to me, talk to my board, talk to my colleagues, of course, also. But the general meeting there has a fairly formal weight. Registration are open. Registration open, taking place from, yeah, right. Right, so registrations are open. The general meeting is sort of associated to the RIPE meeting, and it seems to be going on for like 2 days. It's not, of course. We do the general meeting in person and remotely, and then we put it to sleep for a little while to allow for voting, to have enough time for voting throughout the service region from the far east to the far west, time zones and everything. So there should stand nothing in the way of you voting. You can watch it live, like I said, online. Participation from this region, again, it's Iran and Turkey as being really, really big countries that participate also quite significantly. Yeah, but the other countries are relatively quiet there. Please, if you can, participate and be part of that. And we do surveys. Surveys are important because we need to know what you think. You can talk to me, of course, here and to my colleagues and to my board members that are here. But we also do surveys that we send out that we want you to fill in. The last survey had input from 4,400 people. That is not bad. But of course, our membership is bigger than that. The community is far bigger than that. It's very, very important. It's crucial to deciding what we are doing in the years to come, what we should be focusing on, what's important to you, so that we can adjust to that. Coming into the region is an outcome of, I think, one of the first surveys that we ever did. So we do listen. The next survey we launch not in Reykjavik, during the RIPE meeting in Reykjavik. It's shorter. We don't want to take up too much of your time. Please, again, please participate in it. We do act on your feedback. For many years now, we study the outcome of the surveys. We group it into discrete action items that we can do, what we should be doing, and we report on those. First of all, what we saw, what we took from the survey, and then also we report progress at the meetings, but also on the website, so please do that. Like I said, we have lots of tools and services that are interesting to look at, also generate lovely pictures. Please look at them. They can help you doing your business. We have webinars, we have training courses around those as well. Yes, and not everybody can come to the meetings, and often we hear, oh, we don't have time. can't make time for you, but also we don't have the funds to do travel and send an engineer for a couple of days. There are ways to help with that. So we have the academic initiative, the RACI, present your research and come to a meeting, and travel will be taken care of. We have the RIPE Fellowship now for quite a couple of years. That helps as well. And run a project. We have the RIPE NCC Community Projects Fund that makes money available to interesting projects that are beneficial to the internet and the local community. And with that, I think pretty much on time. If you have questions, I'm here. I'm here now. I'll be here for the rest of the meeting. Anthony, I can't hear you. I can't hear
you. Good morning.
Yeah, that works.
That works? Okay. Good morning, Axel. I've got some questions from our participants from remote hubs in Yemen and Palestine.
Wonderful.
So the first question from Palestine is if the RIPE NCC can organize member lunches in Palestine, and if that's possible.
I don't know why that should not be possible. I know that we have been going with trainings and associated to that. It's a careful, yes, it needs planning and execution, of course.
Thank you. And I've got a couple more questions from Sudan. So the first one is, how is the RIPE NCC dealing with billing and payment transfer issues for the countries under the US sanctions?
Yes, we hear frequently, or often, that some of our members have difficulties paying. Of course, that is of concern to us, and we would like to get into contact with those members individually. I have Gwen looking at me very, very interestedly. So please, if you would send an email to us with your concrete problems, we will do the utmost to get to your money, of course, to help you with payments.
Thank you. And the other question is that the RIPE NCC region is heterogeneous in terms of culture and level of development. And how are you catering for that in the strategies and your programs?
Right. So the region is very heterogeneous and diverse, and that's one of the amazing parts of it, the properties of our service region. We are happy to talk to everybody and to hear what their needs are, obviously. There's a generic answer. We have for instance, one of the examples, have the RIPE NCC Community Projects Fund, which is something that is not necessarily geared towards development, for instance, but that is a distinct possibility there. If you have a local project that you need funding for, please send your requests, send your applications, and we can do something there. Otherwise, we are happy to hear what you think would help you. Then,
thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.